Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. Let's get back to work on fixing the cowling on the Fokker D.VII. Alright, I got a lot of stuff set up before I turned on the camera, because I've been doing this for far too long. Here's what I've got set up. Now, what I did, and hopefully I'm not going to fall over backwards on my stool here. Let me back up a little bit. I've got everything pretty much set up, ready to go. So I took the screen. It's got some weight to it. It's attached to the vise. What I ended up doing was just taking out the screen itself, just pretty much running some masking tape on it, get everything set up so I've got a center on this. That way I know that the two outside edges are the same distance from the center. Less chance of having a problem. And then what I ended up doing was I took the little center section that's going to be on the outside of this. And how well you're going to be able to see this is going to be close, but I've got it set up, if I can kind of get it somewhat adjusted. So it's going to be the right bend pattern. The right bend pattern, the distance to cover this part of the nose that is already on the forward piece of the cowling. So that was how I had to get this piece all set up. Now, of course, there is going to be overhang, and with the overhang, that's where the little tweaking, bending, and then I'm sure epoxy. I will read the instructions before I glue this together. My goal is to see how far along I can get with getting the first piece. That's why when I made this one, when I bought the screen, I made sure I was going to have 3 pieces. If it didn't come as 3, I was going to be ordering 3 separate pieces, because there's no guarantee I'm going to get the first one right. My fingers and toes are crossed. So at this point, because I'm going to have to take it apart, lift it up from the vise and switch it around 180 degrees, because on the one side with the cranking handle, with the screw on this side here, I can't bend it down because it's already up against it. So all the bending is going to have to be on this side. So what I'll do is, because it's already clamped in with these clamps, all they have to do is pretty much just loosen it up, take it off, rotate it around 180 degrees, put it back down, and start bending. So it's going to be a little bit of a slow process, but I'll keep the camera on it and throw a little music in the background, and hopefully it'll all come out nicely. All right, we're all set up. I think it's time to get the funk out. Alright, don't know how well you can see it, but it looks like we got a pretty good fit on that side and on that side. And of course, it's going to have to be bent down and glued around the outside. I'm not 100% sure on how they want us to deal with this curve, but that's where reading the instructions come into play. So let me go ahead, sit down, figure out exactly how they want this attached. Attach it to this piece first, or attach this to the fuselage first, then put the screen on. We'll find out. All right, I've got it all glued on, and it's glued on properly. What I did, because in the plans, in the instructions, there was no mention made of how to glue it together. It just said glue it together. So do you use epoxy? or super glue. That's the only thing they're showing in there is just super glue. So some CA. So I just took some 6 CA, now I've got it on my fingertips too. Went ahead and just put it, of course, through the wire mesh of the screen. And it's hard for you to see it, but wherever it's on, it's actually flooded in that little area. So it's got a really good bite. So I don't think there's ever going to be a problem with the screen lifting off for 2 reasons. First of all, the outside of this piece here, there's going to be some balsa. And I'll go through that whole thing with you when I'm getting it set up, because I've got to cut it around the outside and then bevel it in so it's going to kind of plop over at a 45-degree angle with that little bit of an angle in it. So that curvature plus the 45 is going to make it so that when that piece gets glued in, it's going to hold everything in place. So what I'm going to do to cut this, I do have a halfway decent set of tin snips. I've got a better set somewhere, just don't know where I put them. So what I'm going to do with that is throw on my little eye protection, and I'm just going to take a Dremel tool with a little cutoff wheel and just go around and just buzz it close. I just want to get it close to begin with. Then what I'll do is I'll take one of my little the Dremel drum sanders, put it in there and just go ahead and just get it right back to the edge with hopefully not lifting anything. That's going to be the fun part. Around the outside where it's at a bevel, I can work with that. Just got to get it close, because the piece that I have to cut out, that I just mentioned that I have to cut out, I can make it work with anything where it's sitting a little bit proud on the end. So I don't think there's going to be an issue with that. So let me go ahead, get this thing cut out, and bring it right back. So anyway, it looks pretty good from my point of view. Hope it looks pretty decent for you too. These little things, I did not wear any kind of protective gloves, but I've had acupuncture all over my fingertips. These little suckers are sharp. I still have a little bit of sanding to do on these things, because right here you can't really see it. It's standing up maybe a 1/64 of an inch. I need to get this down to level. Trying to work with the little Dremel cutoff wheels. These things aren't tough enough for the stainless steel on this. So I just went over to my sander on the other side. It's kind of hidden from view. It's on the other side of this thing. Yeah, so I just went over there, put it down on top and started sanding. I'm going to sand a little bit more on the top of this just to see if I can get this down to being level, but this is glued on very nicely. I was kind of surprised that the CA, the thick CA, was going to work as well as it did. So let me go ahead, finish tidying this thing up, and then I'll clear off the table, bring the plans back up, and then let's go ahead and make the edges for this. All right, I kind of have it about 90% of where I want it, and I'm going to show you guys what it looks like from the front. It looks very acceptable. Is it 100%? It's never going to be 100%, because the more you try for perfection, the pickier you're going to get. So as of right now, and I'll show you through the other camera, on a couple little tweaks I'm going to have to do, and most of that will be done off camera. But let me go ahead and show you where we're at. All right. I don't know how well you can see that. We got that white stuff coming down. So we're going to go ahead and just try to finish this up quickly so I can get out and get ready to start shoveling snow. Anyway, so here's where we're at. You can see through the, this was just some filler I had to put in, and of course this balsa is a little bit lighter color than the stuff that was made, you know, what, almost 20 years ago when it was cut out. So this stuff, because it's been out, it's just started, it's, you know, just turning a little bit darker color. But anyway, so this is pretty much done, and I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it, but I'm pretty happy with it. I still have to come in, and because this was sanded down prior to the original builder getting the sides done properly, it was over sanded. So I'm gonna have to come in here with some really thin, I don't know, probably 16th or thinner balsa. Just go ahead and get it wet, glue it down on there. When it all dries, just go ahead and resand it just to get a little bit better corners. This side's not too bad. This is actually almost acceptable there. This side over here, this part was sanded in a little bit too much, and it comes in and then it bumps. So you're not going to be able to see it, but it needs a filler right in this little teeny area here. So I'll just go ahead and do that, do a little bit of filler, sand it all down, make it level. So once we get done with this, and I'm going to show you, because I'm not going to take these little screws out, I'm just going to let it sit here. But what I'm going to have to do next, and this is going to be the next video, I have to come in and remove this whole section, this whole sheeted top section, because this is standing too high. The cowling and then the main part of the cockpit, the leading edge all the way back to where the pilot sits, this needs to be at the same height. So that's something that the original builder didn't do. This should have been sanded down before he went ahead and made sure that everything was ready to put the stringers in, to put the part that goes over the front of the cockpit, excuse me, the cowling. And which you can see, I don't know if I can get it down low enough where you can see it, and if you might be able to see it, but you can see probably from there. You see how this flexes down? From here over to here, this 1 inch, it's got a big pocket. There's glue here, there's glue over here, but because when he forced this on, he was waiting for the glue to dry, it just lifted up here. So I'm going to have to fix this, and then we have little sections over here, as you can see, where it's doing the same thing. So I'm see like right here. So I'm going to have to come in and I'll lift this. The bad part is this pretty much from about here on back. There's nothing wrong with this at all. I'm probably still going to have to lift it. I got to think about this one. How I want to do this, because I can't really lift. I don't want to cut this, but I need to lift it. So if I lift the whole thing up, I don't know how much of this stuff. I mean, the ply is going to be good. The balsa, it'll get destroyed, but that's okay. I can cut new balsa and put it in. But between that and then the triangle stock down here, that's easily replaceable too. I just don't want to damage the balsa underneath it down below it. So we'll see how well it works, but because it's wood, you can hear it crack. Excuse me, because it's wood glue, you can hear it crack. So for the most part, I think I can pop a lot of this stuff off. So just like I said, once again, there's a way to do it and a way not to do it. So anyway, so the next vid will probably be taking this off, working on getting these go ahead so that they're leveled, sanded down, ready to go. I can cut a little filler piece to fit in there, and then I'm going to come in and put the new diagonals, because 1, 2, 3, we got 3 broken diagonals, and then I'll go ahead and cut the gussets out. They're going to come and then attach to the lower part of the fuselage. Hang on. Dust. And go ahead and make the gussets. They're going to just attach everything together here on the inside, so nothing's going to break. It'll just make it much stronger, because there is quite a bit of side-to-side rocking motion that you can get out of this thing. So let's just go ahead. We're going to call this a video. It might be a shorty, but at least I got more accomplished than I thought I would. I thought that was going to take substantially longer time. I've got maybe, I don't know, about 4 hours, maybe 5 hours total time getting that whole thing, all the parts recut, everything glued back together again, and get this screen put in. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I hope you liked this episode. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time I'm back down in the shop.